Okay, let's jump right in. From the K-pop that's taking over your playlists to the phones we use every day, South Korea's influence is, well, it's everywhere. But what's the engine behind it all? What's the deep-rooted cultural code that drives this incredible society? Today, we're going to unlock that code and really get into the core values that shape modern Korea.
So, what is this invisible force? It's the set of unspoken rules that kind of dictates everything. How people interact, how they greet each other, even how they do business. It's the subtext you feel in every K-drama and the real foundation of etiquette in the workplace. Let's really dive into this.
The answer to our big question? Well, it all starts in one place, the family. Seriously, it is impossible to understand Korean culture without first getting a handle on the huge role of the family unit. It's basically the blueprint for everything else in society.
The key word here is gajuk, which means family. But in Korea, this is so much more than just a word. It's a huge concept, built on centuries of Confucian tradition. And the number one rule? The group's well-being always comes before the individual's. This means loyalty, respect for hierarchy, and a sense of shared responsibility. These aren't just family values, they are the core values of the entire society.
And you can really see how this has evolved. Traditionally, the ideal was this big, multi-generational family all living together under one roof like you see on the left. Now, of course, modern life has made the smaller nuclear family on the right way more common, but, and this is the important part, the underlying social software, that hasn't really changed. That deep sense of loyalty and collective identity is still incredibly powerful, even when people don't live together.
So, how does this family is the blueprint idea actually play out in the wider world? Well, these values definitely don't stay at home. They scale up, creating the social framework for, well, pretty much everything, from the classroom to the corporate boardroom.
You can think of this framework as a kind of unspoken social ladder, and it's based almost entirely on age and status. The respect you show to your parents and grandparents at home, that just extends outward. You show deference to elders in public, to senior colleagues at work, and even to friends who are just a little bit older than you. It creates this very clear vertical structure that organizes almost every social interaction. But why? Why have this structure at all? Well, the ultimate goal is social harmony. And to keep that harmony, communication is often pretty indirect. It's all about protecting someone's face, or chimyeon, which is like their public image, their dignity, their self-esteem. You avoid direct conflict at all costs to make sure relationships stay smooth and the group stays strong.
Okay, so we've covered the why. Now let's get into the how. How is this respect for hierarchy actually shown in everyday life? Well, it really all starts with something as simple as how you greet someone. The bow is the most immediate and physical way to show respect. And it's not just some quick nod of the head, it's a very measured action. Every single part of it matters. The depth of the bow, for example, directly shows how much respect you're giving, and it's perfectly calibrated to the other person's age or social standing.
Now, handshakes are common too, but they also come with a little twist. To show extra deference, you'll often see people supporting their right arm with their left hand when they shake hands with an elder or a superior. It's another one of those small but really significant gestures of respect.
Okay, this next one is huge. In a lot of cultures, using first names is the goal, right? It shows you're friendly. In Korea, jumping to a first name can actually be seen as pretty disrespectful. The default is always to use a title. It could be a professional title, like Director Kim, or a term like Sunbae for a senior colleague. Even with friends, you use special titles like Hyung or Nuna. The main takeaway here is, titles are not optional. They're the absolute bedrock of respectful communication.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about something we can all connect with: food. The dining table in Korea is like a little microcosm of the entire society, where all these rules about hierarchy and community come together in a really delicious way.
So here's a quick and dirty guide. You always wait for the oldest person at the table to take the first bite. You pour drinks for other people, and they pour for you. It's a communal thing. Using two hands when you pass a dish shows respect. And this is a really big one. Never, ever stick your chopsticks straight up in a bowl of rice. It looks like the incense used at funerals, so it's a major taboo.
And this really gets to the heart of it. In Korea, sharing a meal is never just about filling your stomach. It's a fundamental social ritual. It's all about strengthening bonds, reinforcing relationships, and affirming your place within the group. It's the culture in action, right there at the dinner table.
Phew, okay, we have covered a lot of ground, from the family all the way to dining etiquette. So let's try and boil all of this down into a simple, memorable toolkit that you can take with you.
So if you don't remember anything else, just remember these 3 pillars of the Korean cultural code. Number 1, family first. The concept of kajok is the blueprint for absolutely everything else. Number 2, hierarchy matters. Age and status aren't just details, they're the main guide for how you interact with people. And finally, number 3, harmony is key. The whole point of all these rules is to keep relationships smooth and make sure the group stays strong.
And all of this brings us to one last really fascinating thought. South Korea is one of the most technologically advanced, fastest-changing countries on the planet. And that creates this incredible tension, right? As the nation just hurdles into the future, how will these deeply rooted ancient values of family, hierarchy, and harmony continue to adapt and evolve? That is the big question right at the heart of modern Korea.